guys, my name's Trailer, and today I'm going to talk about the best and fastest ways to get to Artisan 2 trading on Black Desert. I'm going to go over the pros and cons to each method, and I'm also going to show you how to set them up and do them. So let's get right into it. The first method is the trash crate method. It's about 90 to 95% AFK time. You're going to have to invest some CP and some money, and it's the method that's going to take the longest. It's probably going to take up to a month or so, depending on how much AFK time you can put into it. But I mean, it does take the longest, but like I said, it's 95% AFK time, so you can do other things while it's going on. The second method is the actual trading. It's about 50% or so AFK time. It'll take probably about 2 to 3 weeks, depending on how much time you can play. It's going to cost you some CP, and the good thing about it won't cost you any money to do that method. And the third and fastest way to do it is the container method. I'm going to show you the container method my way. It's 0% AFK time though. You're going to have to actually physically play the entire time. It'll take you about 2 to 3 days depending on how much time you can play to get from beginner 1 to artisan 2. It's going to cost a chunk of CP, but it shouldn't cost you any money to get set up. Alright guys, before we get into all three methods here, first couple things you need to know is whatever character you plan on getting to Artisan 2 trading is going to have to be at least level 55. It's going to be a character you're going to be leveling up, or at least get it to level 55, because to get the Artisan 2 trading buff in the desert, you have to be 55, because you have to go to Valencia. To go to Valencia, you have to be level 55. Another thing to know, you're going to need a good chunk of CP to play around with, and if you're doing the trash crate method, you're going to need some money, a good chunk of money that you can invest. Other than that, let's get right into it. The first method we're going to talk about is the trash crate method. To do this method, you're going to need to spend a good chunk of CP and Calphi on here. You're going to want to get as many mineral workbenches and wood workbenches as you can, as well as getting lodging and getting workers on those workbenches. And the whole premise of the trash crate method is pretty much you buy the cheapest ore that you can get, copper ore, lead ore, or cheapest timber. I would probably go with ash timber. I think ash timber is probably going to be the cheapest, and you make a bunch of crates. It's pretty much that simple. Go into your workshop here. You go to your mineral workbench, and like I said, you just put a worker on them, like copper ore crate or lead ore crate. And if you have wood working bench, do ash timber or some type of timber that's cheap to get. You're going to run out of it quick, so you're going to need to buy lots of it. And like I said, this is the longest method. It takes the longest, but it's pretty much 100% AFK. All your workers do all the work. Once you have a bunch of crates stacked up, you stack it all on your horse, and you're going to trade it over into Valencia area. I'll show you that in a second. It's probably going to take you around 75,000 to 100,000 crates to level up from beginner 1 to artisan 2. So like I said, it's going to take a long time to build those crates up. That's why this method is the longest, but it is all AFK for the most part, besides stacking all the crates on your horse. Once you have all the crates stacked on your horse, you make the node connection all the way out through to Valencia over here. You want to go past Valencia. You want to go over here to this town, Artisan. It's right over here. If you don't have the CP to go to Artisan, I at least recommend having the CP to go to Sandgrain Bazaar. You get more XP for the more distance you travel. Sandgrain Bazaar is good enough. I wouldn't worry about actually going into Valencia. There's no reason to. If you don't have the CP for Artisan, go to Sandgrain Bazaar. I wouldn't trade your crates in at Alta Nova. If you don't have the CP to go to Sandgrain Bazaar, build up your CP some to get out here, because the XP difference from Alta Nova to Sandgrain Bazaar is actually quite a bit. So at least go to Sandgrain Bazaar, turn your trash crates in, turn them in the trader here. Like I said, this method's going to take you probably about, depending on how much AFK time you can do and how often you can refresh your workers and keep them making crates. Like I said, you got to make around 75,000 to 100,000 crates to get all the way up there. So like I said, it's probably going to take you about a month, depending on how many workers you get going on. Alright, let's talk about the second method. The second method is actual trading. It's about 50% AFK time. It's going to take you about 2 to 3 weeks, and you're going to have almost no CP investment in this, and it won't cost you any money to get started, really. Well, it costs you a little bit if you don't have a merchant wagon, but other than that, it won't cost you anything. The pros to this is you'll be able to train horses while doing it. You can watch Netflix or something like that while doing it, while you're autopathing between towns. You can watch Netflix. The only time you really need to be at the controller is when you're turning crates in and you're buying crates. There's a bunch of methods online about this, the best routes to take. This is the way I did it till skilled or so on trading. I'm going to show you my method of doing it and why I chose to do it this way. But pretty much you're going to be trading between Velia and Heidel only. And once they run out of items to trade, I'm going to show you which items to get and which ones to trade back and forth. Once they run out of items, you just switch servers and you do it again. And I'm going to tell you why I did this method this way and all that. But we'll get started, go right into it. So we can start at either Heidel or Velia, it doesn't matter. Go up to the trade manager. The one of Velia, you're going to buy, you're going to come down to medicine and you're going to buy these. You want a merchant wagon because a merchant wagon can fit the most slots. You can have 18 items on it. So you buy 18 of these. Put them on your wagon. The reason you're choosing these is because they're the lightest things. You can get all 18 of them on there. If you were to pick something else like these, they're a lot heavier, so you're not going to be able to get 18 items on there. You want to trade as many items as possible to get the experience. But from here, you pretty much autopath to the trader in Heidel. Best way to do this, if you're doing it back and forth, is to do a move to the green one right there. You have to hit left trigger and X. That way once you get there you can stop, then you can just hit the auto run button again. It'll take you all the way back up to Velia. Once you get there you stop, hit auto run, back and forth. That way you don't have to pull up in the map and do it every single time. But from here we pretty much get turned around and we run to Velia, or we run to Heidel, and I'll show you what happens when we get there. Alright guys, for all three methods you're going to want to make sure you at least have level 1 or +1 trader clothes for extra XP. You're also going to make sure you have a food buff going for extra XP, life XP. And you're going to want to make sure you at least have Elixir of Time, the green one. If you can get the blue one, which is +5% more XP, I would go for that. If you can't, get this one at least. And once you picked everything up from Velia, you come to Heidel. We come to the manager here. We sell everything to her. Before we sell everything to her, we're going to want to pop a XP pot. Then we sell everything to her.
A merchant should enjoy large crowds. So what do you want from me?
Then we go to buy. And we're going to buy these wishing kites. You're going to buy 18 of those. You get back on your wagon and you head back to Velia. Alright, you made it back to Velia. If you popped your XP pot right before you turned into Heidel, you should still have about a minute left on it. You come to the trader and you sell it all. You get 2 turn-ins per XP pot this way. And then you would come to him, buy his medicine again, buy 18 more of them, and go back to Heidel. You just keep doing this back and forth till they run out of the medicine, or the kites, either or, whichever one runs out first. And then you switch servers and start all over again. You want to make sure, I don't know if I mentioned, you want to make sure that you have the nodes connected all the way so you don't lose any money while doing this. You'll gain a little bit of money doing it, not a whole lot. I mean, you do it for long enough, you're going to gain a few million here and there. Make sure you have the nodes connected. Alright, let's talk about the last method, third method, which is container method. This is the fastest method. It's going to take you about 2 to 3 days playing, depending on how much time of day you can play. But it's 0% AFK. You're going to be doing it constantly on the controller, and it's going to cost you a lot of sanity. Trust me, this method sucks. I took it from skilled like 3 to Artisan 2 doing this method. My method's a little bit different than what you look up online. The method online wants you to do Velia and Heidel, but I can turn crates in faster, add more crates in faster just doing Velia since there's no 15-minute server swap time. This method's going to cost the most time to set up and the most CP to set up. You're going to make sure you have a character that has as many inventory slots as you can get on them. I think you're going to at least need around 70 inventory slots. You're going to want to have Toscani Farm. You need to have it connected out here to Toscani Farm. And you're also going to need as many inventory slots as you can get in Velia. You do that by any extra housing you have. You need to go ahead and make storage. You need to come to Logia Farm. You need to get these 2 houses as storage. Come here, you can get these 2 houses as storage. And if you come here, you can get these 2 houses as storage too. I think there might be a house here too that's storage. No, maybe not. Alright, after that, you need at least 120, I would say 120 storage slots for Velia that are empty that you can use. The only other thing you're going to need is make sure you can get as much weight as you can on your character. If you can buy the pearl item weights to increase the weight, it's a good idea. If not, try to use armor pieces. Hercules armor set will increase your weight. Zareth chest with gems in it. Anything to increase your weight. You want to get as much weight on your character as you possibly can to do this method. Alright, to do this method, you're going to come to the trade manager here in Velia. You're going to start with this right here. You're going to buy all of these. And you come down to food. You buy all of them and all of them. Your character should fill up and only take about 7 or so of the old adventures here. And you're going to take all of these. At that point, you're going to be overweight. And you're going to have to roll. The way you roll is you're going to hold left bumper and you're going to press forward. Once the person rolls, you stop pressing forward. And as soon as she starts to stand up, you press forward again. You hold left bumper the entire time, press forward. She rolls, stop, forward, forward, forward. And you do this. You're going to roll all the way down to the warehouse manager down here. Once you're at the warehouse manager, you take all the crates or all the trade items you just bought, you put them in the storage here. You run back up to the trade manager again. Once you're here for the second time, you're going to buy the rest of these. Then you're going to come down to medicine. You're going to buy all of these. And if you're at apprentice 2 or higher, I would buy all of these right here too, the blue ones. Alright? So you buy all of these, whatever's left of those. You buy them, and you buy them. Once your inventory is full again, you roll all the way back down to the warehouse manager down here. And you turn them in. At that point, you want to make sure you have a horse. And you're going to want to run to Toscani Farm. Once you're at Toscani Farm, this house right here is going to be your residence. You want to come in here. You want to make sure your storage container's down somewhere close to the door here. Go into your storage container, fill up your inventory of as many trade items as you can, and then you do your whole little roll right out here to the node manager. Before you hit the node manager up, make sure you pop an XP pot. You come into him, trade, and you sell everything you have. Alright? That's going to take you 2 trips. You want to do this in 2 trips. You don't want to take any more trips than 2. So you want to make sure you have as much weight and as much inventory slots on your character so you can do this in 2 trips. If you do it in 2 trips, like I said, you're going to get around 120 turn-ins per trip. And you can do this trip in all together, rolling to the manager down there in Velia, and coming out here and rolling to him and turning them in. It takes you probably about 8 minutes total. So you do this trip about 8 minutes, so about every 25 minutes or so, you're doing 3 turn-ins in, so that's 360 crates you're going to be turning in, which is way faster than the Velia Heidel method. Velia Heidel method is going to take you about 20-25 minutes to do, and it's going to be 220 crates or so. That's all I got for today, guys. As always, leave a like and subscribe if you found the video helpful, and take it easy, and I'll catch you next time.